There comes a moment in every person's life. A moment where silence roars louder than the world. Where you are left alone with your thoughts, your failures, your fears. No applause, no validation, no one watching, just you. And the decision. Will you break, or will you build something unbreakable? Understand this. Success does not belong to the clever or the charming. It belongs to those who refuse to be moved. Those who become immovable in purpose, unshakable in belief, and relentless in action. Those who forge an unbreakable mindset, one decision, one discipline, one rejection at a time. Think of Thomas Edison, 10,000 failures, and the world told him to stop, but his mind was made of iron. He said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." And with that, he lit the world. That's not talent. That's not luck. That is mindset, pure, unwavering mindset. See, most people live like paper in the wind. They're moved by every opinion, distracted by every shiny thing, broken by every setback. They don't lack intelligence. They lack intelligence. They lack internal authority. They've given away the throne of their life to fear, comfort, and the need to be liked, but not you. Because somewhere deep inside you, there's a voice that's tired of being silenced, a fire that refuses to die, a vision that won't let you sleep. This is the birthplace of the unbreakable. Let me tell you a truth. Napoleon Hill uncovered over a century ago, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. He didn't say maybe. He didn't say, if you're lucky. He said it with finality, with certainty, with law. The problem is, most people skip the second step, belief. They conceive big dreams, but their belief is paper thin. They speak about goals with their mouths, but sabotage them with their thoughts. They say they want freedom, but mentally chain themselves to fear and limitation. But those who rise, they build belief like a fortress, day by day, thought by thought. They protect their mindset like a sacred temple. Andrew Carnegie didn't build an empire because the world made it easy. He did it because he trained his mind to see opportunity where others saw impossibility. He fed it faith when the world offered doubt. He spoke to it like a warrior, not a victim. Your mind is the command center of your destiny, and you must become its master, not its prisoner. But here's the catch. An unbreakable mindset isn't born. It is built. Built through rejection that you refuse to take personally. Built through long nights when you show up anyway. Built through moments of fear when you act in spite of it. Built through failures that don't define you but refine you. Every great builder, Ford, Lincoln, Disney, Jobs, they all faced storms, but storms didn't destroy them. They built in the storm. They became the storm. So I ask you, what if your next failure isn't a setback but a setup? What if the pain you're feeling is not punishment, but preparation? The weak mind sees a wall and turns around. The unbreakable mind sees the wall and becomes the hammer. This world doesn't reward potential. It rewards resilience. It doesn't care how smart you are if your mindset crumbles under pressure. So train your mind to withstand the heat, because life will test you. It will throw doubt at you like daggers. It will whisper, "You're not enough." And in that moment, you must answer with one voice. Watch me. This isn't about ego. It's about ownership. It's about deciding that you will not be the kind of person who folds. Not when it gets hard. Not when it gets lonely. Not when the results take longer than expected. You are not here to live a life of reaction. You are here to command reality with clarity, courage, and conviction. And that starts with your mind, because once your mindset becomes unbreakable, your life becomes unstoppable. But how do you build it? How do you turn a fragile mind, by doubt, distracted by noise, diluted by mediocrity, into something that refuses to bend? You start with discipline. Discipline is the steel framework of the unbreakable. Without it, all dreams collapse under pressure. Discipline is waking up when you don't feel like it. It's showing up with full force when no one's clapping. It's doing the hard thing especially when the easy thing looks more attractive. And no, discipline doesn't mean perfection. It means alignment. It means your actions match your ambitions. It means you've decided that your future is worth more than your feelings. Look at the life of Napoleon Hill. Himself rejected, mocked, dismissed. It took him over 20 years to write, think, and grow rich to decades of doubt, obscurity, and silence. But he stayed disciplined to his calling. Why? Because he wasn't building a book, he was building a belief system. He knew that a mind on fire could change a life, a nation, a world. Discipline is the daily declaration that your vision matters, even when no one sees it. Even when the world offers distractions packaged as normal life. You want an unbreakable mindset? Then stop treating your goals like hobbies. Stop dating your dreams and start marrying your mission. The world doesn't need another person who kinda wants it. It needs someone who is possessed by their purpose. Someone who is so committed, so locked in, so focused, that nothing outside can shake what's built inside. Because purpose is the fuel, discipline is the engine, but clarity is the map. And here's the truth. Most people never become unbreakable because they're not even sure what they want. They wander through life like ships with broken compasses, chasing approval, chasing trends, chasing everything, and achieving nothing. But when you get clear, truly clear on what your life is about, everything changes. Clarity cuts through the fog. Clarity removes options. Clarity gives you power. Ford knew what he wanted to build a car the common man could afford. Lincoln knew what he stood for: freedom, unity, and moral courage. Disney knew his mission to create magic through imagination and storytelling, and because they were clear, they could endure what others couldn't. Confusion breeds weakness. Clarity breeds conviction. So ask yourself, not tomorrow, not next week, but right now, what am I building? Why does it matter? And what am I willing to give up to get it? If your answer doesn't scare you a little, dream bigger. If your answer doesn't pull you out of bed before the alarm, go deeper, because an unbreakable mindset is forged in intention. But even clarity won't carry you if you don't move. Massive belief must become massive action. This world doesn't reward those who wait, it rewards those who work. Those who understand that belief without execution is just delusion dressed in hope. Get up, put your hands on your future and build it. Don't wait for motivation. Train your mind to act without it. Motivation is a visitor, discipline is a tenant. But decision is the architect. You have to decide deep in your soul that you are done being average, that you are done being breakable, bendable, forgettable, that you will not leave this world without becoming everything you were meant to be. And from that decision, you act. You act when it hurts, you act when it's quiet, you act when it's boring, when it's painful, when it seems pointless, because action isn't about the moment, it's about momentum. Each step builds belief, each rep builds resolve, each move forward stacks strength. Your unbreakable mindset is not some mysterious gift, it's a brick wall built from every time you chose to rise when others stayed down. But here's where most people lose it. They act with intensity, but not with consistency. They sprint for a day and collapse for a week. They go all in until it gets inconvenient. But the unbreakable, they understand the real game. Pace beats pressure. Consistency beats chaos. It's not about doing it once. It's about doing it until it works. Until you break through. Until your name becomes a legacy and your work echoes beyond your years. This is the long game. The one no one talks about. The one that demands silence, sacrifice, and solitude. Everyone to seize the highlight reels, but they don't see the mornings when you wanted to quit. They don't see the tears behind closed doors. They don't see the moments where you doubted if it was even worth it, but it is. It always is. Because while the world sleeps on itself, the unbreakable rise early. While the average drown in excuses, the unbreakable build in silence. While the weak wait for signs, the unbreakable become the sign. Listen to me, your destiny doesn't need permission, it needs a decision. You are not here to play small. You are not here to beg for scraps. You are here to command your future with the full weight of your will. But the world will test you. It will send storms your way. Storms of failure, storms of criticism, storms of betrayal. And if you are not rooted, you will be ripped apart by the winds of doubt. That's why you must go deeper than motivation. Motivation is surface, conviction is core. Conviction says, this is who I am now, this is what I do now. No matter what shows up, I show up stronger. Conviction is what kept Mandela alive in a cell for 27 years still believing. Conviction is what kept Lincoln leading through civil war and loss. Conviction is what drove Elon to sleep on the factory floor while building rockets. You want to know why most people fail? Because they're half-hearted, because they try to win without sacrifice, because they want success to feel good instead of being good. But when your mind is unbreakable, you stop negotiating with life, you stop making deals with weakness, you stop letting your environment dictate your emotions. You become your own ecosystem, your own economy, your own empire, and no, it won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Because along the way you discover something sacred. Growth lives in the resistance. Growth lives in the weight you carry when no one claps. Growth lives in the repetition, in the routine, in the refusal to back down. And every time you rise, every time you push through what should have broken you, you prove one thing: you are becoming unbreakable. But let me be clear, this journey isn't just about grit, it's about vision. Because an unbreakable mindset is not blind, it sees further. It sees what doesn't yet exist and walks toward it with certainty. Vision is the oxygen of the mind. Without it, your drive suffocates. Without it, your fire flickers out in the wind of daily life. You must see beyond your current circumstance, beyond the debt, beyond the critics, beyond the silence. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job for lacking imagination. They couldn't see what he saw, but he kept seeing it. A castle, a kingdom, a world built from the audacity of imagination. He wasn't just building theme parks, he was building dreams for generations. That is the power of vision. It turns empty fields into empires. It turns setbacks into stepping stones. It gives purpose to the pain. So ask yourself, can you see it before the world believes it? Can you carry the weight of a dream too big for others to hold? Because the unbreakable mind doesn't wait for evidence. It creates it. It visualizes with clarity. It speaks with faith. It acts with precision. And when the world says, be realistic, it answers, reality is created, not inherited. But vision without gratitude becomes obsession, and obsession without grounding becomes burnout. So build your mind not only on power, but on perspective. Gratitude is the anchor that keeps your storm-driven ship from being lost. It reminds you, You don't have to, you get to. You get to wake up and fight. You get to shape your body. You get to sharpen your mind. You get to chase something that calls your spirit to rise. And if you're waiting until you make it to be grateful, you'll never be fulfilled. Gratitude is the fuel that keeps the engine running long after the applause fades. It is the only antidote to entitlement. It is the foundation of resilience, because when you're grateful for every step, you can endure any fall, and you will fall. Let's not pretend you won't. You will be knocked down. You will be laughed at, ignored, overlooked. But resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward. You don't just recover, you rebuild, stronger, sharper, more dangerous than before. Every failure becomes a lesson, every scar becomes a scripture, every setback becomes a seed. And the unbreakable mind, it grows in the dirt, it blooms in the dark, it thrives in the tension between where you are and where you're going, because that's where the real magic happens, in the tension, in the friction, in the fight. So stop running from resistance. Use it. Use the pain. Use the loneliness. Use the uncertainty. Every great one didn't wait for ideal conditions. They created greatness in chaos. So now it's your turn. This is your chaos. This is your test. This is your forge. And on the other side of it, a version of you that cannot be broken. But what good is resilience if you don't learn? Because an unbreakable mindset isn't just stubborn, it's adaptable. It's not a brick wall, it's a fortress with moving gates, evolving defenses, and expanding borders. The truly unbreakable are not rigid, they are students of life. They observe, they adjust, they evolve. Henry Ford revolutionized the auto industry not because he resisted change, but because he led it. He studied motion, manufacturing, manpower, and then rebuilt the system from the inside out. He once said, "Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. That is the mindset of a builder, of a warrior, of someone who understands that ignorance is a self-imposed prison. The day you stop learning is the day your mind begins to decay. Not because you're incapable, but because you've become unwilling. The unbreakable mind, it seeks challenge. It feeds on books, failure, feedback, and fire. It doesn't protect the ego, it pierces it. Because every piece of new knowledge is a new weapon. Every lesson you embrace is armor for the next storm. So ask questions. Get obsessed with mastery. Be so humble that you outlearn everyone in the room, and be so bold that you outwork everyone once you leave it. That's the paradox of the greats. They are confident, but never finished. They know their power, but they're still sharpening the sword, and that leads to one final truth. You must become the source of your power, not your followers, not your bank account, not your job, your title, your image. Because if your strength depends on something outside of you, then it can be taken from you. But when your mind is unbreakable, when your fire is self-fed, when your worth is internally rooted, you become unstoppable. You walk into a room with no need to prove, just the urge to improve. You move through life with a calm that terrifies the frantic. You become the eye of your own storm. Focused, centered, commanding. You don't beg for success. You attract it through alignment, through integrity, through insane levels of consistency. Because the truth is this: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your standards. So raise them. Raise your standard for how you think, for how you speak to yourself, for how you use your time, for how you show up when no one's watching. Build a mind so powerful that doubt cannot live in it, so clear that confusion runs from it, so fierce that failure bows before it. This is the new standard, the new identity, the new you. Not fragile, not waiting, not hoping, but decisive, focused, committed. Because in a world full of noise, distraction, weakness disguised as comfort, you will be the exception. You will be the one who refused to break. But here, this being unbreakable doesn't mean you're never afraid. It means you move through fear. You act while your hands are still shaking. You speak while your voice still trembles. You build while your knees still buckle beneath the weight of uncertainty. Fear is not your enemy. Comfort is. Fear sharpens you. Comfort softens you. Fear exposes your edges. Comfort dulls your fire. Fear shows you where the breakthrough lives. Comfort teaches you how to shrink. If your goal is greatness, then fear is your invitation. Not a signal to retreat, but a signal to rise. The unbreakable mind doesn't run from fear, it uses it. It says, there it is, the edge, the cliff, the unknown. That's where I'm supposed to go, because on the other side of fear is always expansion, always power, always truth. Abraham Lincoln felt fear every day. Fear of failure, fear of war, fear of letting a nation fall apart. But he didn't stop, because his mission was bigger than his fear. So ask yourself, what's bigger, your fear or your purpose? Because when your purpose becomes non-negotiable, fear becomes irrelevant. You'll feel it, but it won't stop you. You'll feel it, but you'll walk straight into it. And here's the magic. Every time you face what once terrified you, your mind recalibrates. It upgrades. It rewrites the rules of what's possible. You're no longer the person who fears the fire. You become the one who walks through it. And with every fire, you become more forged, more focused, more free. Yes, free. Because that's what this is really about. Freedom. Not just financial freedom, Not just time freedom, but mental freedom. Freedom from insecurity, freedom from guilt, freedom from smallness, freedom from the need to be understood or approved of. The unbreakable mind isn't addicted to applause. It's rooted in identity. It doesn't perform. It executes. It doesn't explain. It embodies. It doesn't chase validation. It walks in vision. And this is where most people get stuck. They're imprisoned by perception, worried about what others will think, terrified to stand alone. But hear me, the great ones, they always walk alone before the world follows. You think Carnegie had permission? You think Jobs waited for public support? You think MLK stood for justice only when it was popular? No, they led, they bled, they endured ridicule and resistance, because their minds were locked in on a cause bigger than ego. And that's the final pillar of the unbreakable mindset. Purpose that transcends self. If your only goal is your own success, you'll fold when the pressure hits. But when you live for something beyond you, a mission, a movement, a message, you tap into a level of power that comfort will never know, because when you're doing it for them, for your family, your legacy, your people, your creator, you become a vessel. You stop playing small games, you rise, and you never stop rising. That's when the real shift happens. You stop needing external motivation, because now you are the source. You become the fire starter, the spark, the system, reset, the leader of your own life. You stop waking up asking, what should I do today? And instead you rise with thunder in your chest, declaring, here's what I will conquer today. You don't wait for the weather to be perfect. You become the storm. You don't fear obstacles. You look for them, because you know that steel is strengthened by the hammer, that diamonds are made under pressure, that legends are not born. They are built in the darkness where nobody claps. And yet that darkness, that's your laboratory. That's your door. That's your proving ground. Because when the lights are off and the crowds disappear, that's when the unbreakable mind is forged. No spotlight, no applause, no safety net, just you, your vision, and your refusal to break. You train in silence, so you can lead in the noise. And as you do, something incredible happens. You no longer chase greatness. You embody it. You stop talking like a winner. You move like one. You think like one. You command your time like one. Your decisions shift. Your circle shifts. Your identity evolves. Not into someone better, but into someone truer, because the unbreakable mindset doesn't make you into someone else. It strips away everything that's not you. The fear, gone. The hesitation, gone. The excuses, burned at the altar of your future. What's left? Focus, faith, force, a mind sharpened like a blade and anchored like a mountain. And when others look at you and ask, how are you so driven? How are you so calm? How do you keep going? You won't even need to answer, because your life will speak, your results will echo, your presence will carry weight. Your name will be etched into the memories of those who watched you rise, not because you were perfect, but because you were unbreakable. And maybe they won't see the nights you cried, the mornings you doubted, the rejections you swallowed, the sacrifices no one applauded. But you'll know, and that knowing, that fire in your soul, that's the reward, that's the peace, that's the pride, that's the power. Because when your mindset becomes unbreakable, you don't just survive life, you dominate it. But listen, even when your mindset is forged, even when your vision is clear, even when your actions are relentless, you will still be tested. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. Because life doesn't test you once to see if you're worthy, it keeps testing you to see if you're ready. Ready to rise without applause, ready to lead without permission, ready to stand for something when everyone else stands for nothing. It will test you with delay, with betrayal, with confusion, with isolation. It will make you question if all the effort is worth it. And that try, there is the final battle. The battle against the voice that whispers, maybe it's not your time, maybe you're not the one, maybe you should shrink back and settle down. That voice is not yours. It is the echo of every person who gave up too soon, every dream that died in a graveyard of excuses, every soul that traded greatness for comfort. But you didn't come this far to fold. You didn't break all those chains just to wear a prettier set. You came to rise, to lead, to rewrite the rules. And in your darkest moments, remember this: the deeper the pain, the louder the purpose, the harder the resistance, the greater the reward. The longer the delay, the bigger the destiny. And no, not everyone will understand. They're not supposed to. This path isn't crowded for a reason, because it requires a level of faith that's irrational, a level of persistence that's borderline obsessive, a level of belief that looks like madness until it works. And when it works, when the doors open, when the impact hits, when the results start to reflect the years of quiet work, you won't gloat, you won't boast, you'll smile. Not because you made it, but because you became the person who was always meant to. Unbreakable, unshakable, unstoppable. And now every trial that once tried to take you down became the very thing that raised you up. Every loss turned into leverage. Every no became a new door. Every lonely night became proof that you could walk alone if destiny required it. You'll look back and realize it was never about avoiding the fire. It was about becoming fire. So burn brighter, burn deeper, burn with the intensity of someone who refuses to die with their potential still inside them, because the world has enough people who gave up, who settled, who silenced their greatness. You are not one of them. You are here to build, to lead, to become a monument of discipline, vision, and resilience. And that starts in the mind, because every fortune, every empire, every revolution that ever changed the world started in the mind of one person who refused to break. And now you stand here not as who you once were, not as who the world told you to be, but as who you chose to become, built, tested, transformed. There is no going back. You've outgrown your excuses, outgrown the identities that kept you small, outgrown the illusion that life owes you something. Don't wait for guarantees. You create outcomes that you don't beg for opportunity. You command reality with clarity and conviction, because the world bends for those who do not flinch. It moves for those who move with purpose, and now you walk differently. You carry a gravity. You speak with a weight that doesn't come from volume, but from value. Your words hit harder. Your silence cuts deeper, because everything about you says, I know who I am. That's the power of the unbreakable. When life tries to move you, you move life. When chaos surrounds you, you remain. Calm, centered, grounded. Because chaos is noise, and you are tuned to signal, to intention, to legacy. And when people ask you what changed, you won't need to explain. They'll feel it in your discipline, in your focus, in the way you walk into a room and shift the atmosphere, because you carry something they've never seen. Not arrogance, not ego, not hype, but a deeply earned, brutally forged certainty. And that certainty, that's what creates empires. That's what alters generations. That's what turns men into movements. You think Martin Luther King marched on emotion. He marched with mindset, unbreakable, unafraid, unapologetically aligned with a vision that transcended his lifetime. You think Rosa Parks refused to move out of rebellion. She moved out of resolve. She sat because her mind stood. You think any world changer reached impact by accident. No, they decided. They became immovable in what they believed, and the world eventually had to adjust around them. That's your calling. Now, to stop adjusting to weakness and start shaping your world with strength. You are no longer available for mediocrity, no longer available for fear-based decisions, no longer available for lukewarm goals and watered-down dreams. You are building something eternal, a life, a legacy, a frequency that echoes long after you're gone. And if anyone doubts it, let them. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be undeniable. So keep rising, keep building, keep walking toward the vision only you can see, because every step forward, no matter how small, is one more brick in the fortress of a mind that cannot be shaken. And when you arrive, when the dream becomes real, when the results catch up to the reality you first held in your imagination, you'll smile not because it was easy, but because it was earned in sweat, earned in silence, earned in battle. And now, as you breathe in this truth, let it root deep into your soul. I am no longer breakable. I am no longer lost. I am no longer available for anything that does not match the highest version of me. You see, this was never just about mindset. It was about identity, about becoming the kind of person who doesn't flinch when the storm comes because you've already been through worse, the kind of person who doesn't need a pep talk because your standard is your motivation, the kind of person who doesn't need to be seen because you've already seen what you're capable of, and it burns in your chest every single day. This is who you are now, not someday, not when the bank account grows, not when the followers come. Now, because the unbreakable mindset isn't about someday, it's about today, this moment, this breath. It's about the choice you make right now to rise, to recommit, to show up with fire in your eyes and steel in your soul. Not because it's easy, but because you're ready. You are ready to become the one your bloodline has been waiting for, to break generational cycles of fear and silence, to become the example they never had, but always needed. You are ready to stare down the doubt in your blood and rewrite the story. You are ready to stop begging life to be fair and start forcing it to respect you, because you've realized no one is coming to save you. And that's the greatest gift of all. Because once you stop waiting, you start creating. You create habits, you create results, you create momentum, you create an internal world so powerful that the external has no choice but to bend. This is your rebirth, your shift, your full embodiment of everything you used to only speak about. It's time to live it, time to own it, time to walk into every room, every challenge, every day with the force of someone who has already decided how this ends. It ends in legacy, in impact, in full realization of the highest, boldest, most relentless version of you. So take a breath. Plant your feet, lift your head and say it out loud. I will not break, I will not fold, I will not stop, because my mind is no longer negotiable. My dreams are no longer optional, and my life is under new leadership now. From this moment forward, I don't follow fear, I lead with fire. And now, as the dust settles, as the noise quiets, as the heartbeat steadies from the war you've walked through, let's return to the beginning, to the silence, to the choice, to that one sacred moment where you looked yourself in the mirror and decided, no more breaking, no more folding, no more waiting for permission. Because now, you don't need it. You don't need someone to validate your path. You don't need a crowd to believe in your vision. You don't even need the world to understand. All you need is to remember that everything you've built, this discipline, this clarity, this fire, this identity, all of it was inside you from the start, and all you ever had to do was stop running from it. So you did, and now, look at you. Look at what's rising inside. Look at the way your shoulders sit different, the way your breath feels deeper, the way your soul whispers, "We're just getting started," because we are. This wasn't a hype speech, this was a transmission. A call back to yourself, the highest self, the most dangerous, powerful, awake version of you. And now, you walk out of this moment not the same, not even improved, but returned to who you truly are beneath the noise. The one who commands time, who moves in alignment, who thinks in vision, who acts in purpose, who walks with fire. Because no matter what life throws at you from here on out, it will not break you. You've already made peace with the storms. You've already shaken hands with the silence. You've already been to war with your weaker self and buried them with honor. Now you rise, not loudly, not desperately, but fully. You rise, with quiet power, with sacred certainty, with a mindset that no weapon, no failure, no delay can shake. You rise, with peace in your chest and fire in your bones, because from this day forward,